welcome to Real Talk with Carla Ham. This is my very first episode. Thank you so much for joining me. And today I have a very, very special guest. Her name is Michele Hicks, and she is with Southeast Mortgage. Hey, Michele.
Hey, Carla. Great to be on.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so excited first to start the podcast and talk about everything real, as in real estate, and also to have an expert like yourself here to go ahead and lead everything off. So, why don't you start out by introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name is Michele Hicks. I've had a pretty good round the block real estate background. I started back dating myself in the 90s. I won't use the exact year that I was a property manager for apartment communities, and then I went into commercial real estate. Got my real estate license for a very short time and realized that no, not so much for me. I respect you guys greatly, and I said I'm going into the lending side because you guys' job is Herculean. I mean, Herculean. You guys do just rock solid for your, Carla, you take such good care of your clients. It's just, I could never do it. So, but I did
Well,
get
thank
my,
Go ahead.
no, yeah. So I went and got my lenders. I started in 98 and got started in lending, and then left the lending world to have my children and came back in 2013 to a whole new world from 2001. So seen a little bit of everything. It's been an interesting world to, the last few years, especially.
Yeah.
But just like everything, life's a roller coaster. So you just got to ride it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that takes me to when we first met. So my background before I became a realtor was in business to business sales and high level recruiting. So I recruited physicians, radiation oncologists for cancer treatment centers across the country for about 10 years. And I also recruited high level technical people like software engineers and all that kind of stuff too. So I decided to go ahead and marry that in the world of real estate because I was spending every weekend going and looking at houses. And that's how we met, right?
This is true.
So I was looking for a great loan officer that was local that I could send my clients to. I knew I wanted to have the high touch feeling that I had in the previous business world and bring that over to the real estate world. So when I talked to you, you were just so friendly and so welcoming, and you took care of my first client, and you get 99.99% of my business still
Thank
to this
you.
day.
Thank you. No, I love working with you. Again, your clients are amazing. The way you handhold them and teach them along the way. It makes closings to, do with you just absolutely, incredibly fun. And always fun to see people get their keys. So I love being part of your team.
Yeah, and I love that because you come to all the closings for my clients. So now I want to lead into a little bit about what your expertise is. So, like you said that you respect what I do. I really respect what you do because you have to get really close, really intimate with my clients right away and dive into their financials. Tell me a little bit about your expertise in that.
Well, and that's a big thing. People like to tell you all their insides out, even if it's positive. People do not.
Mhm.
It's very personal information, and by the time I'm done, I have to pretty much ask all the personal information. So I really, I try to at least, manage expectations from the beginning with the clients. I go, I'm going to be asking you some questions. I'm going to be asking you about things that, I have to know. I've got to see the whole picture. I'm the front gate to the underwriter, to where I look at underwriters as like, when kids and you have to follow the dots and you make a picture. If you go,
Uh-huh.
it's my job to make sure those dots all line up right so that the underwriter sees the picture at the end of the story. And so if I can set that up correctly, it makes the underwriting process and the closing process so much more smooth. So it's just basically getting that understanding that the client's going to have to be open and forthright with what's going on, and that it'll make their life easier. I love first-time home buyers. They're kind of one of my specialties. I absolutely adore them. I love hand holding. So I don't mind if it takes somebody 20 minutes to be able to get something out and say, all right, I'll give it to you. I'm fine. I understand. So
That leads me to, I love how you worded that you have to put the picture together for the underwriting. That is so good, because that gives me something to tell my clients, when they're going through the process and you guys have asked for something, from a few years ago that they can't find and they're frustrated. I can tell them that you're trying to put together the perfect picture to underwriting so that they will move forward with the process. That's awesome. That's
yeah,
such a good way to look at it.
and it's so
Uh,
simple. That's how
Go
underwriters,
ahead.
they're really simple. Believe it or not, they are very black and white, straightforward kind of people. So if you can just make that color the dots, or do the dots, and you get your nice little puppy picture or whatever it is at the end, then then all is good.
Yay, because what you're doing really is lowering the underwriting department's perception of risk by providing all that authentication, correct?
Correct, absolutely. Because if I have to put a dot somewhere outside of that line that doesn't make the puppy picture, then I have to explain why am I making that dot go way out, and I'm not making his ear look quite the way they want it to look. And so I gotta, I have to have a reason for that way up ahead of time before they go, well, wait a minute, this picture isn't going where I want it to go. And then they start imagining where the picture goes, and we do not want that.
Excellent. Absolutely. So that's why it's really important, I guess, for the clients to be as forthcoming as possible on their application and when they talk to you.
Yes, yes. And I mean, they don't, it's not that they have to tell me that they have, an account somewhere that they're not using. I mean, sometimes you do have to, because what if they pulled money from it into a bank account a month before? And I'm like, well, look at this deposit. I need to know where that money came from. So,
Mhm.
it's really best just to, from the get-go, with your loan officer, to be as transparent as possible. And then we can decide as the professional, what do we want to put on here? How do we want it structured? How do we want it to look, so that we get the best picture possible?
Awesome. That's why I use you. Love it. So that leads me to, okay, we're in September 2022. Now I'm really going to lean in on your expertise.
Well,
So everybody's wondering what the market's doing. I can tell you from my perspective, the market is normalized. And when I say normalized, you don't have you have more houses that are being listed right now, and the level of buyers has come down to basically a normal level right now. So you're not having 30 offers on one house anymore. Now you're having maybe 2 or 3 offers on a house. And the average days on the market has extended to about 30 days now, which is what it was pre-COVID. What are you seeing on your side of the world? I know interest rates just went up. Give me it all.
well, and here's the thing: is it's I look at it from both ways. I'm loving that I'm not having to do the zero finance, zero appraisal contingency, putting people at risk that would keep me up at night, and probably would have started me on high blood pressure pills, because I was like, these people, this is not the way this should be. You should not have to forego an inspection. You should not have to forego the contingencies to protect yourself and go 50,000 over asking. And, that just was just nuts. So that had to change. So I'm so happy to see that done. I'm starting to see sellers giving closing costs now, which has been so nice and so helpful. And that we're not going into this crazy over asking for something that, that you got 30 people buying for. I still see that my appraisals are still, everything is modestly going up the way it should. So I'm not seeing everybody's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose value in a home. I'm not at all seeing that in appraisals, not at all. We're back at our nice, modest, steady upward look. What's very helpful right now is getting the sellers to give as much closing costs as possible to help mitigate these rates. So I've tried to look at it this way. You know what? 3 months ago, you weren't getting any closing costs, and you were going to get a 5.5% loan. Now rates have gone up from almost to, they're going to hit 7. I'm just going to put it out there. They will hit 7. But if you can get a seller to give closing costs, we can use that money toward buying the rate down, and therefore getting you back down closer to that 6% marker that a few months ago you wouldn't have been getting those costs. So it's really the same. If you really look at it from a perspective, you can make it almost be apples to apples as it was months ago if the seller can contribute closing costs, or we can increase the house price a little bit, or whatever you guys can do to help do that. We can get that rate in line. Don't let it be a hindrance, or be afraid to go buy that house. There are ways and strategic things we can do with this current market to get you in the home.
Absolutely. And that's why I work with you also. So, and I want to say during this whole thing, so I'm 97% a listing agent. Okay. But for my sellers who sold their houses and I had to go find them another house, you were always so surprised during this period, from 2020 to about August of this year, when I was still having the appraisal contingency in my offers. Not only is it normalizing now, but you didn't necessarily have to do that to win an offer. There are other things that you can do to win an offer, but I always want my clients to go through their appraisal and through their inspection. I never waive that with any of my clients. I'm proud to say that.
No, and I will say that because I'm so happy to work with you, because we're the only one that gonna let me sleep at night. There were so many agents that would just, nothing against, but I understand it's just to be competitive. Understood. But it was just that market was just off the rails. And so it's no, I always appreciate it. I'd see your offer come in. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, because you were like, I need a 21-day contingency. It's like, of course it's in there. I
know
for you, Michele.
I'm like, oh, that's right. It's you, Carla. I'm so happy. So, and it's protecting your client. It's important. I mean, we never had to use it, which is great, which you shouldn't have to, but it's there for the reason.
Absolutely. And as a realtor, I have a fiduciary obligation to look out for my clients' needs. When I represent them as a buyer, I am wholeheartedly representing them as a buyer and looking out for their financial interests. Same thing when I'm representing them as a seller. That's what my job. And if there's anything that I need to ask you about interest rates, or how we need to work the numbers, I'll call you and get that from you before we put in the offer. Yep. That's when you do your negotiation really with your client, is before you put in the offer. So I love that about you. So you said, what are you expecting in the near future? I know I'm dealing with people on Nextdoor and all these different apps where their hair is on fire. And they're saying, oh my God, the sky is falling and nobody's going to buy a house and all that kind of stuff. I will tell you what I see first. I see the market being normal. I see during the holiday season, there's not normally a lot of buyers out on the market, but the ones who are out on the market during the holiday season are have tunnel vision, because they're on the market because they're relocating, because there's a divorce, because they got a promotion and need to move, but something to do with their career or family on why they have to move during the holiday season, because nobody wants to move during the holiday season. Then what I foresee happening in 2023 is a normal spring market. You guys, because what's going to happen is they're going to be pulling comps from their neighborhood of things that sold in the last 90 days, and that's where they're going to set the sales price. So we're not going back in time to pre-COVID days, because those increases would have happened anyway. Plus, in our market, we're a very hot IT market and film industry market. So because of those reasons, demand is hot in Atlanta. But that's my forecast.
I agree.
What do you think?
I totally agree with that. 100%. In fact, I'm seeing more and more, if you look at the Atlanta Business Chronicle, that we are a beehive for high tech to be coming into Atlanta. We're our standard of living and our cost of living is much lower here than on Silicon Valley. So someone working out in Silicon Valley can get twice the amount here. I mean, Absolutely. So why would you not? And in the world of Zoom, like what we're doing right now, you could work for a Silicon Valley company and live here in Atlanta. I mean, why would you not? So that is huge right now. So we've got a great influx of And that's, those are incomes that are absolutely can support a home. These are these recent college grads coming out. You can go to Georgia Tech, you come out making no less than $100,000 a year. And
Yep.
so these are 21-year-olds. So we've got a great market for these young people to start thinking and investing in real estate early and young. And then also the movie industry. I'm a preferred lender for the local 479, which is the movie industry, the union here, and they have doubled in size. Let's see, 3.5 years ago when I got on their list, 4 years, they had like not quite 3,000 members. Now they have over 7,000. Georgia the movie industry brought into the state of Georgia $4.4 billion in revenue.
Say that again. Was that with a B?
Yes, with billion dollars. Those guys spend money and they make money. And so they help our restaurants. They help our buying things, buying houses, furniture, all that. They are a huge boost to our economy, and it is not stopping. So all up and down the 20 corridor right now, that's, Covington down. Covington's called the Hollywood of the South. I mean, it's real. I mean, being part of that train, it's got some momentum. So we've got a lot of great things going on. It's just letting people kind of take a breath and go, hey, listen, it's okay. It's all right. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had to explain to some of my neighbors out here. I live in the North Fulton area. I'll just put it that way. And I've had to explain to them because we had such a large influx of people move to our area, they don't understand that this is one of the top places to live in Atlanta. So they're not putting together that the school system and the per capita income of the average person in the area is so high, and that's why the houses here are priced higher.
Yeah.
And I'm having a little bit of a challenge educating everybody about that, because we have so many people who just found an agent, found a house, bought the house, and now that prices are going up, they're sort of freaking out. And I'm like, you live in one of the best areas in Atlanta. So, are you seeing any of that and anything about a learning curve with people as they move here?
A little, I think everybody's just kind of having a hard reset, because the thing is that, at the end in December, people could get a 3.5% interest rate. Now we're doubled in less than a year. And typically how interest rates work in a typical market is they slowly. So it's kind of like one of those things like you're heating up water. You don't notice it's hot until all of a sudden you go, oh wait, now it's hot, that you started it on at cold, and it slowly made its way that way. But now we went from cold to scorching hot, and so you feel that, right? You jump, but you didn't get that slow feeling of it going from cold to warm that we all are used to.
Yeah, and I think people aren't used to it because it's those two factors that we talk about: the influx of people moving to our area and needing housing from those two industries, IT and film, and the shortage paired with that created this sizzle. So yeah, I completely agree with that. So now that we've got your forecast for 2023, I want to ask, tell me a little bit about what's your big why? Why do you do what you do?
That's, I think about that sometimes.
Over a drink, right?
Right. Well, the thing is that's why I go to my closings, because I love to see, my clients get their keys. I love to see the smile on their face, that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to start my new life. I'm going to go and walk in this door of this new house. I'm going to put my pictures on the wall of my family. I'm going to put my important things in that home. This is going to be, part of my life, my family, my future. And so that I can be part of that in people's lives, it's really rewarding. It's truly a blessing to me to be able to be part of that. And it's not easy, because if it were easy, everybody would do it. But
absolutely,
there's definitely, my job has definitely got some ups and downs with it, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trade it for anything, to be able to watch, families be able to, and then here a year or two later, oh, I just had, our daughter, and now we have this bedroom, we can put it all together. And, I'm like, I remember in the appraisal that how your house looked. And so it's really, it's definitely a blessing to be able to help others be able to see home ownership.
Oh, awesome. I feel the same way. I think my big why, and I've told you this, I'll be completely honest. I was doing real estate when I wasn't getting paid for it. But the biggest why I have is my three daughters. I'm trying to show them how to build legacy wealth. I'm trying to show them how to be a businesswoman
Nice.
in the world. And I love helping my clients. The reason I transitioned from what I was doing in high level recruiting is I wanted to do something that was fun, where I got to see those people with the smiles on their faces, and I'm impacting not only their life, but generations to come, because they're going to remember, oh, my grandma owned a house, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really is a chance to make a small footprint in somebody's life path. And I love that.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I thank you so much for joining me today, Michele. I'm going to close it up. Thank you so much for joining me on Real Talk with Carla Ham. And we're going to be talking about the real estate market here in Metro Atlanta and more. And I hope you'll join me again sometime, huh?
I would love to. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me be part of everything today, and especially your first show. I feel very honored. So I appreciate
it. Well, thank you so much. And I'll probably be releasing a new podcast once or twice a month. I think I'll probably do twice a month, but thank you so much. And I hope to see you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.